लेटर सिलेक्ट कर
Hi, just checking, am I audible?
Hi Chaitanya, you're audible, yes.
Cool. Thanks.
Hi, good afternoon. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Hi, Pradyumna. Good afternoon. I could just see you joined.
Yes, hi. Hi, good afternoon, Sachin.
Good afternoon, Pradyumna. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes.
Sure. I'll just wait.
Yeah.
ఇంతకుముందు అన్నారు 31 participants.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Sachin. I'm the founder and CEO of the Great Unicorn Hunt. And we are delighted to be the program partners for the FIRSTWINGS Connect program of IDFC First Bank. As we wait for some folks who are still joining, we are going to have a look at two small video clips. I'm going to request my colleague to play the first one. And then we'll have a very interesting introduction by none other than Mr. Amitabh Bachchan about the FIRSTWINGS Connect program. So as we wait for all the guests to come in and troop in, here's the short video.
इनसे मिलिए a budding entrepreneur. इनके पास आज एक सॉलिड आइडिया है.
मगर सर, इस सॉलिड आइडिया को एग्जीक्यूट करना बहुत टफ.
यस, लेकिन अगर पार्टनर सही हो तो सफर आसान हो जाता है. वेलकम टू IDFC फर्स्ट बैंक. यहाँ आपको स्टार्टअप से रिलेटेड हर बैंकिंग सर्विस मिलेगी.
सर, बैंकिंग तो ठीक है, लेकिन स्टार्टअप को ग्रो करने के लिए और भी बहुत कुछ चाहिए.
करेक्ट. इसलिए फर्स्ट विंग्स स्टार्टअप बैंकिंग प्रोग्राम. इस प्रोग्राम की मदद से आपको मेंटर्स भी मिलेंगे और उनके एक्सपीरियंस से सीखने का मौका भी.
सर, व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट?
I'll show you. Come. और सोचिए स्टार्टअप वर्ल्ड के प्लेयर्स जैसे कि फाउंडर्स और इन्वेस्टर्स की कम्युनिटी में आपको जगह भी मिले. इस लॉन्च में इंटरैक्शंस भी होंगे और फंड रेजिंग की अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी आपको मिल सकती है. हाँ, क्या पार्टनर? वाना सफर थोड़ा सा आसान. So, the stage is yours. Go and shine. Come on.
FirstWings Startup Banking Program by IDFC First Bank. The plan for your plans.
Good afternoon, and on that note, we should be able to kick off the proceedings right away. We have all the esteemed speakers who have already joined us. Just doing a quick check. I saw Pradyumna. Pradyumna, warm welcome. Sunil, did I see you there somewhere?
Yes, here am I.
Great. Good afternoon. Great to see you, Sunil. And Mitesh, just checking for you as well. Mitesh, good afternoon. I hope you have joined. Okay, great. He should be joining in a minute. So as we kick off the proceedings, a warm welcome once again to all the folks who are gathered here for the third fireside chat of the First Wings Connect program of IDFC First Bank. What you would notice and realize that for those who are not familiar, that the First Wings Connect program is an extremely comprehensive program with almost 11 touch points that help founders who are basically startup banking customers of IDFC First Bank along the journey, right from perhaps looking at their pitch decks, getting them ready for the Zoom interviews, generating an AI-powered report, a fundraise readiness report, to help them look at their chinks and anything that needs to be plugged, and leading right up to investor connects and the opportunity to present at forums such as these. Usually and all along, the fireside chat in itself has become a great attraction point for the kind of brains from the venture capital ecosystem that have graced the occasion and graced the different fireside chats. And today is no different because we have, once again, an awesome galaxy of speakers who have joined us today. Sunil Goyal, Managing Director and Fund Manager at Your Nest Ventures, who frankly needs no introduction, and very fortunate that Sunil has decided to take time out for this session. And from the initial conversation, I know with the kind of stories, anecdotes, and experience that Sunil was sharing on the intro call, there's a lot that's going to get unpacked in this session. So Sunil, a warm welcome to you. We also have Pradyumna Dalmia, Managing Partner at Triton VC. Very fortunate that Pradyumna could take the time out to be here this afternoon. Pradyumna and I go back a long way when he had founded Calcutta Angels Network, and it would not be an exaggeration to say that he's one of the few people who pioneered angel investing in India and certainly in the eastern part of India. Pradyumna, great to have you here, and thank you so much for joining.
Happy to be here, Sachin. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. And Mitesh, have you been able to join? Mitesh Shah from Inflection Point Ventures. Mitesh seems to be
We
joining.
we will hold the fort for him until he
Yes, guess so. I just message him again. Sure. So we can certainly kick off with the proceedings. But before that, I wanted to quickly have all of you meet Chaitanyam Suvarnam, who is the National Head Financial Sponsors with IDFC First Bank. Chaitanya, who has had over a decade of experience in finance and banking, helping founders, PEs, and VCs with cutting-edge solutions, is joining us today. Earlier, he was the managing partner for the startup banking vertical in the North, and now as a national head financial sponsor. Chaitanya, the stage is set for you for the opening comments and the welcome.
Thanks so much, Sachin, for the warm welcome. And thanks, Pradyumna and Sunil, for joining. I hope Mitesh will be able to join soon. I really look forward for these sessions. But before we get into the session and listen to all the interesting conversations, I will just take a couple of minutes to set in context what FirstWings Connect mean and what IDFC is trying to build here through FirstWings Connect program in startup banking and new economy group segments. So 3 years back, we think of ourselves as a startup bank, by the way. A couple of reasons for it. One, of course, we are probably one of the youngest private sector banks. Second, we are also led by a person who was a founder himself. So when we decided we will serve the new economy startups, we were thinking of how we should serve it. And we realized the only way we would be happy serving that in long run is if we grow the pie, if we grow the startup ecosystem, and then therefore benefit from it. We said let's not be any other bank which tries to see this as another business opportunity. This is something fundamental for Indian growth. So let's try to grow the startup ecosystem, contribute to that growth, and then therefore benefit from that. So FirstWings Connect started from that perspective. Couple of ways. So when you think of something as a long-term vision, it lets you do things in a very different way. For example, we probably are one of the few banks which serve startups across the country. So our startup clients, and last 3 years, we are very grateful. 28,000 startup clients, got associated with us. They associated in this sense, they started banking with us, and many more associate with us beyond banking. And all of them, they are not restricted to the metros. So today we have startup clients from Dimapur, Siliguri, Bhubaneswar, Ajmer, Vijayawada, Kochi. And when I say startup clients, these are, we were thrilled to find that, some of them are drone techs from Northeast selling drones to Indian Army. Some of them are health tech, deep techs having an IP in cancer drug administration from Bhubaneswar. The kind of innovation that's happening in India beyond metros is great. And we are very happy to reach out to all these places and serve startups. Another way in which we want to serve startup ecosystem is we just don't want to be only a banking partner. We want to be a business partner. In fact, everything that we do under FirstWings Founder Success Program will some way be associated with how we can make a startup, chances better at success. Can we help them with business growth, or can we help the founder with the right networking, with the right knowledge and right, mentors? So be it Leap to Unicorn or be it this session, all our efforts are towards how we can be a business partner and help them in their success, and then thereby, also be a business banking partner and, be associated with them in banking. So that's the context. And so these are monthly sessions, and thanks, Sachin, for making this happen. Without further ado, I'm very eager to listen to these interesting conversations. And the floor is open to you, Sachin and Pradyumna and Sunil.
Sure. Thank you so much, Chaitanya, for the opening comments. And it kind of brings us to the most interesting part of the session now, which is basically to do with the questions and the discussion around the entire interest. So here we are, with a very interesting topic, and I'm going to kick off the proceedings. But before that, a warm welcome to you, Mitesh.
Hi. Sorry, I had some difficulty.
No worries. Good afternoon, Mitesh. So we are just about to kick off the proceedings, and I was planning to start by asking Sunil if there are some examples he would like to share of founders who he has met in his illustrious career, who, in his opinion, did a pretty superb job of pre-reach out preparation, because that's the part where sometimes founders get it wrong or fumble. So Sunil, over to you if you'd like to share some interesting aspects around that.
Fair enough. Familiarity with the partnership of the firm is the most important aspect. I'm not talking about you knowing anything and everything about that partnership. The familiarity has to be seen, that you know the areas that we invest in, the domains that we look at, the stage we look at, and the interest of that particular partner is most important. And here is one gentleman who reached out to me in 2021. No, yeah, 22. And he knew my background of Bharti Airtel. This gentleman knew that he is going to be thrown out of the meeting within 15 minutes. And hence, knowing that it'll be tough to convince me, the level of preparation that he has done was so unique to get to know as to what all do I understand of telecom industry. And I also was of the opinion that I'm taking this call because there is a reference call that has come in to meet with this gentleman. The investment was supposed to be at a very significant valuation. Normally, we invest at $3 to $5 million valuation. Here, somebody was asking for a $20 million valuation. And this is Satyam of Biome, walks into the office and starts talking about that he is going to be making world's most affordable broadband, even cheaper than Jio and Airtel. Now, how do you believe that statement? How do you get into that particular statement? The preparation was that he had every aspect of things that I could have asked him for. He came with the mindset that he will be thrown out, and I came with the mindset that there is no way this is possible. And look at it, in 45 minutes, we were shaking hands that I want to take it forward for you to meet more and more with my partners. So this is a good example. The bad example, there's one gentleman came in with so much of preparation that he had seen at least 3-4 videos of each of my partners. Now, 8 partners, he had spent 3 hours on each of us partners to know about everything about us. Guys, that was buttering. That was too much. We just walked away from that particular transaction because the person was not focused onto his business and talking about his business. He was more interested in knowing our life and our story. There's no way we would have given money to such a person.
Fair enough. Absolutely, Sunil. Great examples. And I'm now going to come to Pradyumna. Pradyumna, ever since you sort of got into this space, I'm sure you must have had your share of founders who perhaps did a superb job of pre-reach out, doing their research, making sure that all the checkboxes are shared, are checked. Anything that you would like to share, Pradyumna, from your side?
Sure. Just, kind of taking off from where Sunil left off. I think, it's very important to read up on just the basics, right? What is the fund's thesis really? If you are pitching to a fund or an investor, it really helps to see the kind of investments that they have made in the past to get a sense of, what are the areas that they look at and what is their real interest areas, right? It's no good pitching to a B2B fund and then pitching them a consumer story, etc. Right? So just the basics, and I'm surprised by how often people miss out on that. Every day I receive calls and messages about various companies who just don't fit our thesis. So just do the basics. Read through what investments, the kind of investments that the fund makes or the investor makes, at what stages, what is the, average ticket size, etc. And also one more thing I would like to add is be very clear and articulate clearly that what is the problem or the solution that you're trying to solve, and what is the product or service that you're selling, and how does it add value to your customers. I think that is something, today we are living in the world of AI. Every day we are, talking to, evaluating various opportunities where founders are talking about AI, but even at times after 1.5 hours of talking to them, you're still unclear of what is it that they are trying to solve. So be very, very clear, in your pitch decks, and articulate clearly what is it that you're selling, how does your product or your service add value to your end customer. I think that is extremely key. Those are the few aspects that I think one should always keep in mind.
Sure. Absolutely valid points, Pradyumna. And Mitesh, over to you, as we sort of grapple with this question, because a very, well-meaning a founder has unfortunately got this piece wrong many times, not realizing that perhaps, the cliche first impression being the last impression, etc., is true, and actually messing up what could have been an awesome VC meeting. Anything that comes to your mind, Mitesh, that you would like to share?
So sure, I think first validation will be, seasoned investors like Sunil or Pradyuman kind of giving them a green, flag. So if it is coming from Sunil or Pradyuman, I think half of the job is already done, right? So I think their experience counts a lot, and great points made by them. I think one thing which I look for in founder is one, I have this habit of catching them a little bit unprepared. So to put it, let's say you're walking into a meeting or you're walking into some gathering and somebody introduces you to a founder, and you speak to them and you just ask them questions around the business model, some numbers and all. Now at that point in time, when they have come unprepared and they are as natural as one can be, the thoughts about the business, the thoughts or the direction about their own numbers or the direction about the market industry, this talks a lot about the actual involvement of the founder or passion about the founder in what they are doing, right? I obviously don't expect precise answers from them at that point in time, but it's just the articulation and overall understanding of what they do, what they're going to live by, right? Where we are going to be part of their journey. This is what I think interests me a lot. So I have this habit of, calling them myself without actually setting up the call through EA and all, and just trying to kind of find their time if they are available and have these impromptu conversations where you get the real gist of the founders and the way they actually think about it, because this is as natural, right? Coming into a meeting prepared, obviously they'll answer to a lot of things. And second, like Pradyuman said, I think a bit of understanding of whom you are meeting. Biggest put off for me or turn off for me is where founders come into the meeting without even knowing about me or the fund and all. Of course, I'm not a pedigree that they should know everything about me, right? But at the same time, when you're meeting somebody, at least have the basic knowledge about what's the fund thesis, what's the fund manager's previous experience, what they look at, right, and what sort of portfolio they have. This sort of basic preparedness, I think one should definitely do before getting into any meeting.
Sure. Couldn't agree more. One of the other things we have seen a lot is when the evaluations start. Let's presume the VC team is interested. Some initial conversations start. That's another place where sometimes the cookie crumbles. So to say. Either in terms of the participation or just asking for undue time, or just taking longer to come back to the table, or negotiating for the wrong things that really are not perhaps so important at that particular juncture, messes up the conversation. And it requires a really patient VC to handhold the founder sometimes and explain to him that he or she needs to be managing the stuff really well. Sunil, anything that comes to your mind where, post, the starting of the conversation, you experienced a lot of, I would say, dissatisfaction or disconnect with the way the founders were conducting themselves?
Very well, very well. I'll be able to share some experiences there. But before that, to add on to what Mitesh was talking, the most important element is in the conversation, if with the founder we can hold and talk about diverse subjects. So diverse subjects, if you're able to talk about, it just gives us the idea how systematically thinking is of the founders is there, is one aspect. And second aspect is your ability to learn in that particular meeting, your ability to ask questions. If you are asking more questions than me, and if you are showing more inquisitiveness than us, and getting to know deeper, and that day you want to go back learned from our meeting and time spent, you actually will win our hearts much faster than answering and responding to our questions. So that's the part one. Now, part two. Now, imagine that you have gone through all the grill, and now a term sheet is being issued to you or has been issued to you. How do you handle that commitment story? Here comes all your entrepreneurial traits. The first one, I'll tell some stories or some mistakes. I gave a term sheet to somebody at $6 million valuation to invest $1 million in that company. And a week later, the founder said, sir, I need the valuation to be $7.5 million for a $1 million investment. I said, fine, tell me the rationale and reasoning for that valuation to be jumping. Says, no, it is only about dilution. My dilution is going to be much lesser just because of this reason. And he didn't had strong enough reason to negotiate that particular valuation. Guys, what I did, I just picked up my partners. I said, this entrepreneur doesn't have any other option than to take money from us. He doesn't have any other source of money from any other thing. Do you have any commitment from somebody else? Have you insulated yourself if I walk away from the transaction today? Says, no. I said, I'm walking away from the transaction. Imagine a thing like this happening, that you're underprepared to negotiate what you want to negotiate. Second scenario, you are a founder. You're the first time learning. I've issued a term sheet to you. After my term sheet, what happens? You give a lawyer all the freedom to negotiate terms. And the lawyer will try and negotiate the terms on your behalf as if you are a Google or an Apple in making. What happens? They are going to be asking for the sky. And
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that again?
And most of those things are going to be irrelevant. This happened with us in September of last year. All partnership were very, very keen to invest in that company. But when we took out as to what all discussions the lawyer did with our analyst to ask for things which was flimsy, we just walked away from the transaction. So this is two not so good examples. Now I'll give you one example of a company which is 15 years in existence. And one fine day, a mail comes which asks for all 15 years of decisions that the founder has taken. All decisions taken in the last 15 years of the company history. That why did you select so-and-so partner? Why did you select to move ahead with that particular product, but that particular sector? You can imagine what could be the depth of questions that we required for 15 years of decision making to be put together. This was just a 3-pager or 4-pager checklist asked by the incoming investor. This was received at 10 in the evening from the US investor. 8 in the morning, the person says, when are you sending it? He could realize that the person needed the information immediately. 8 o'clock, when the call came, he called his all first line team, 12 people, locked them in a room for the next 72 hours. In 72 hours, they happened to pull out nearly 1,200 pages of report, wherein every decision of theirs was captured and sent it across to them. And that US investor there and said, I am committing money to you. So preparedness to be able to respond back to any query basis for anybody to take a decision is an amazing art that you cannot let go of. Very rarely somebody wants to invest in you. And once they are, be very, very quick to respond to those requirements. That's a quick piece from my side, Sachin. I can keep going on with multiple examples, actually. Sachin, you're there?
Yes, I think I'm on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry about that. I don't know, for some reason I was not on mute. Absolutely valid, examples and great anecdotes, Sunil. Pradyumna, anything that you would like to share in terms of, the founder having been able to open the door? He now has the attention of the VCs and the qualified, team members, and then messes it up royally. Anything that you would like to share, Pradyumna?
Yes, of course. See, I think for us, one of the key things is unrealistic valuation expectations. That is something that totally throws us off. So I think as a founder, I would advise everyone to be realistic and be objective in terms of the valuation that you are expecting or you are asking for, right? Try to link it to something which is sort of objective rather than completely subjective. So in our case, we always try to link it to revenue or last year's revenue, or even, what the revenue that you're going to end up with this year. We do only B2B, so for in our case, it's fairly easy to do. But rather than it being abstract, okay, rather than saying, okay, just pulling a number out of the hat, which a lot of people are doing, okay, I want a $20 million valuation, $10 million valuation. But why? What is the basis for this valuation? There has to be some sense and some science behind it. So, always keep that in mind when you are sort of pitching to investors, right? What is the rationale for the value that I am really asking for? And then the other thing is, try to pay attention to some of the compliance aspects and, because, there will typically be a DD process. So try to pay close attention to that and try to implement some of the best practices. I understand that, at a early stage, companies are fairly young and resources are limited. So there are oftentimes aspects that are overlooked in terms of compliance, etc. But, try to pay attention, because during the DD process, you will sort of learn a lot of things, a lot of skeletons in the closet, which you haven't really looked at in the past. But try to not ignore them going forward, try to address those aspects. And the earlier you start doing that, the easier life becomes in future, because, as you grow larger and larger, as you attract more and more serious investors and private equity, etc., those aspects become really important. So pay attention to due diligence and try to implement some best practices, and don't ignore compliance and your finance departments, etc. So those are a few of the things I would say.
Sure. And Vitesh, with your share of founders, sometimes people who must have come across as a really impressive lot, but the more you talk to them, the more they sort of mess up things that they could have otherwise cracked. Anything that comes to your mind?
Well, quite a lot of them.
Sure.
I think to pick, let's say, top three, one is be practical. For founder, it's very, very important to be practical and be time sensitive.
Right.
One imminent story that comes to my mind, very, very recent. We were looking at investing in a company that is supplying furnitures to US. And the kind of discussions that went, we really liked the founder, we liked the idea and all. Now, when it came to the next stage, the founder just kept stretching on the term sheet and on, shareholder agreement negotiations and DD and a lot of other stuff and all. Took such long time and all that the tariff sanctions came across. Right now, who's losing out here? The founder, of course. Right. Of course, fundamentally, the business would have been challenged any which way if we had signed the term sheet or went ahead with that. But sometimes I think the time sensitivity also is very, very important, where you don't try and optimize. Like Pradyuman said, I think founders' ultimate objective should not be maximizing valuation today. It should be building long-term value, right? Leave something on the table, go for the right investor, close the deal today, right? Nobody has seen tomorrow. In today's dynamic world, honestly speaking, you will never know what happens, right? Second example is where we are invested in Stage, India's largest, dialect-based content platform. These guys have seen the best of the times and the worst of the times. Witty Feed, which was their world's second largest platform for digital content and all, overnight it went off the air with the change in Google and Meta policies, right? they never lost their faith, they never lost courage, came back with stage again in a different avatar, kept improvising. From no revenue today, they are at 250 CR plus ARR, right? So I think this is where the resilience of founder. And second point is I want founders to be resilient, of course, always, right? And third is be honest and be very clear about what you know today and what you don't know today. Third example for me will be our own investment into Bharat Pay. Ashneer Grover today, the world knows him, right? But the Ashneer, when he was raising his first round, and he had this idea about the ubiquitous, QR code, and I was understanding the business from him, and I said, yeah, theoretically looks great. How do you make money? And he was very clear that, look, I'm not even thinking about making money right now. I'll be very candid. Just because you're putting in money, I'm not going to come with elaborate plans saying that ऐसे पैसा बनेगा, ऐसे होगा, ऐसे profitability आएगा. Today, that's not my intention also. Idea is to capture the market. But I know directionally I can make money once I've arrived, once I have the required mass of shopkeeper and all, because then lending, cross-selling, a lot of other opportunities will come. So a lot of time founders actually kind of try and kind of give you answer to a lot of things which they don't even know. Now, in the process, sometimes you end up contradicting your own vision or your own understanding of the business or the business model itself. If you don't know something, say very clearly that haven't thought about this and all. Valid point, would love to understand as we progress and all, or this is something that we are yet working on. You don't have to say yes to whatever the VCs say. We are not God's gift to mankind. A lot of mistakes we also do. I have my NT portfolio, and I'm sure even Sunil and Pradyuman will have. Right. So just because a VC is saying something or have some view which is not aligned to you, don't change your own views. Just hold on to it. Sachin, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm not sure why. For some reason, after I've been silent for some time, Zoom decides that I should be on some kind of auto mute. Sorry about that. My next question was may I request who's not speaking to be on mute? Yeah. My next question was sometimes, founders are not familiar with the rigor or the level of interactions that are likely to transpire with different team members from VC firms. Are there any best practices that you follow in your VC firms to acclimatize the founders or sort of warn them before you actually hit them on the head that, hey, you're going to talk to 20 of my people, or we are going to ask you 300 documents, or these are the timelines? Anything that you would like to share as best practices that your firms have adopted to sort of acclimatize the first-time founders better to this uncertain terrain of venture capital ecosystem? And this time, if it's okay, I would like to reverse the order and start with Mitesh, if you would like to take a jab at this.
No, sure. Thanks, Sachin. I think a great question, first of all. So yes, we do this. One, it is never individual specific. So I'll never tell my founder. We are three co-founders at IPV and FIRSTWINGS, which is me, Vinay, and Ankur. And of course, like will happen in any other set, all three will come with different skill set, different sort of temperament, behavior, understanding, and all. Now the key is for me to see that how does he anchor the conversation with the other two also. So there I will rather leave him or her unprepared and see the natural adaptability as to how you are able to communicate across different sort of people, different sort of mindsets. But second, though, what we always do, I mean, we are before founding FISIS last year, which is a VC fund. IPV is today India's largest angel fund, right? So here we do all pre-seed, seed stage investment with an average check size of, let's say, about $500,000. We do anything from 100K to $1 million. Average will be about $500,000. But the amount of diligence that we do on the founder, on the business, on the market and everything, it irritates the founder sometimes, right? So I've had a lot of founders initially when we started doing this come to me and saying that, yeah, it's great that you guys are doing DD and all, and you are honest to your investors. But at the same time, the kind of DD you are doing is as if you're putting in $500 million and not $500,000. So is this a Series A, Series B DD, or this is a pre-seed, seed stage DD? So taking a serious leaf out of that feedback today, almost everybody that we start working with, I tell the founder initially itself that, look, I think you're going to hate me by the end of this exercise, or my team saying that, okay, the kind of details that you're asking about, or the kind of documentation, or the kind of insights that you are seeking is as if you're valuing me at a Series C level and putting a very large check, right? Which I'm just doing like $500,000. But at the same time, I think at the end of the exercise, the way you see the change in yourself about your own understanding of the business, and the way VCs look at you when you go for the next round, and you will be part of this journey now for a long time. Trust me, it's in fact going to help you a lot. Second, it will also help me to help you in future. Once I understand your business well, I can add a lot of value. Without that, just kind of going by gut feeling, instinct, spray and pray, very easy for me to invest. But that's not how we'll work. So yes, you will have to be prepared for some tough questions, some tough discussions, some really deep insights, some really new data sets that you might not have. But be prepared for that, and ultimately at the end of the day, it will help you. So this is one thing, Sachin, that we have been doing, and it has worked well now with both founders as well as us.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mitesh. Pradyumna, over to you if you would like to share
Sure.
sites from your side.
So I will again try to share some objective insights, right? And practically some of the things that we do. So I think it's important to set the expectations, right, on both sides, from the fund side as well as from the founder side, explain to them like, look, this is what we expect from you. These are the kind of things that we would want you to focus on going forward, and, basic set of expectations and guidelines. And one of them is, numbers become very important. So your financials and numbers. So we typically, spend some time on developing a MIS kind of template. Obviously, there is one common template, but it has to be tweaked and customized as per every business and their metrics. So that is very important because, as investors and VCs, we have to look at certain numbers, on a monthly, quarterly basis. Some of these numbers we also have to report back to some of our investors and also to SEBI. So even from a compliance standpoint, it's really important. So it's important for the founder to be made aware of, these are the requirements, the most basic requirements that will be needed, so that later on it doesn't come as a shock, or, later on they don't say that, oh, we were not aware of all these things. Right. And again, one of the other things is when you're reporting your numbers or any kind of data, just be accurate and be honest. There is no sense, or there's no advantage in trying to, fudge or camouflage some of the numbers, or if there is any, if the revenues are sort of not growing as you had projected. There is no sense in trying to, not report the right numbers. So be accurate, be honest, and be also ready and open to advice and suggestions, because typically as VCs who might have some domain expertise and who might have studied, the sector that you're operating in and spoken to other companies, they might have some insights which you've not thought of, right? And it's always important and very interesting at times to get a perspective from a third party or from a 30,000 feet level. As a founder, you're completely engrossed in your business and you're kind of completely consumed by it. So it's often, not possible for you to step back or step out and look at the business from outside. So an outsider's view sometimes helps. So be open to advice and suggestions, and try to, get into a collaborative mode along with your investor or VC. I think that always helps and goes a long way.
Absolutely. Very valid points, Pradyumna. And Sunil, from your perspective, anything that comes to your mind that you would like to share about your nest or in general?
Yeah, preparing the founders after the term sheet is being given, we actually have 5 different levels of welcome calls for you guys. The first welcome call is about helping you understand what you are signing on the term sheet. Every word out there, what rights you're giving away to us, and how we are going to be you need to influence us to be able to align to any strategic changes, any changes that you want tomorrow. There is going to be some role of ours in affirmative matters and where we're going to be adding value. The term sheet understanding is very, very important. And we give enough time for you to understand that. Second aspect, as Mitesh mentioned, never expect any investor in these times to be able to cut down the due diligence process. The due diligence process, even when we are writing a $500,000 check, sometimes takes 6 to 8 weeks of very, very extensive diligence. It is not the diligence the way the series C or D guys or a private equity guy is going to be doing. This is the only time our tech founders, we invest in deep tech, that we can enable them to learn about something they're not aware of. So this is your learning time, and we are not going to be compromising on any aspect or any challenge of law that is going to be coming by. The third welcome call is done by our ESG leader to be able to make you aware that now your stakeholders are going to be sovereign funds through us. Because the government money is involved, how you're going to be living the values of, of respecting whatever the society needs from you. Another important call is about preparing you for the next round, and the preparing you for the next round is about how to attract talent, how to retain talent, how to get leverage the perishable commodity of ESOPs that are being allocated out there to be leveraged very quickly and faster, so that you cross the milestone with this talent joining you of achieving a product market fit, and the associate and analyst from our team will be sitting with the founder to be able to very clearly articulate what are the key KPIs they are going to be achieving for the next round to happen in the company. So such a long list, but yes, this is the preparedness that we would like to do with the founders once they're part of our team.
Sure. Now, this is a slightly sensitive question, but I'm going to still, table that because I can't avoid the temptation of placing this question with faculty and the panel as esteemed as the ones we have today. If you had to give a word of advice to some of the younger folks who are coming into the VC ecosystem, joining other VC firms, almost representing the venture capital ecosystem in front of younger founders who are coming in. And I know this could be sensitive territory because you're actually advising people or employees or team members from other VC firms, but to sort of stretch this and extract a little bit, from the three of you, Mitesh, starting with you. Is there a word of advice? Because I'm sure you advise your team and counsel them and mentor them and sort of shape them into a fighting force, so to say. But any word of advice for the teams out there, the larger VC teams out there, Mitesh?
I think, even I am too new in this world to actually give advice to anybody, but this is more like my experiences that I've seen, right? And just being rational and being humble, that teaches you a lot of things. So I think a couple of things over here. One, for anybody who's, getting into the VC world and all, one, you don't know all. You don't even know 20% of what is out there. This I can say with to any expert or self-proclaimed expert for any sector that you say. You may be from a thematic fund. You may think that I have seen consumer brands inside out, or you may think that I have seen, health tech inside out. There is always something new outside, and you have to be prepared to learn something new, right? Unless you have that open mindset, you'll never be able to evaluate new ideas and new startup and all, right? Second is, founders don't need you. You need founder as much as they need you, right? So it's the relationship between equal. Sometimes very unfortunate to notice that some of the VCs or some of the counterparts treat founders like it is just one-sided relationship, and founders don't have any choice but to take money only from you as a VC. So I think humility, ability to kind of develop that sort of an equal relationship with the founder. You may not fund him, not a problem. You may not fund him or her, but at least have proper communication, treat them with respect, give your answer within time, right? And don't keep it hanging, and do it all of this with defined timelines and with utmost respect. Third and finally, you are not as big as your VC brand. Just because you're representing the big four or any other large name doesn't mean that you have the same pedigree. You are still an individual who is getting into a discussion as yourself, right? So have the same level of understanding or build it or learn as your VC firm. It's ultimately their pedigree, the kind of investments they've made. What you as an individual principal partner you have to achieve is to achieve for yourself. So I think these three things that I'll have as suggestion for my VC counterparts.
Absolutely. And, in many cases, irrespective of the funding, we have seen VCs have, for want of a better word, become friends for life. And that's also true. Pradyumna, any thought that comes to your mind as to a word of advice you would like to share with a larger venture capital ecosystem, especially with a lot of new folks coming in at different tiers of different VC firms? Over to you, Pradyumna.
Sure. No, I think for sure humility is a very, very important aspect and trait that one should always you know uh, have and keep in mind. And the other thing is, the ability to keep an open mind and keep learning, right? I mean, for me, one of the things that drives me is I want to learn something new every day from the folks that I interact with, right? I mean, I don't know it all. Yes, you learn a lot, every day, and you use that knowledge to make better decisions in future and in life. But, that's a constantly evolving and evolutionary process. So, you should have an open mind. No matter how much you know, should always seek to learn and know more. And the other thing is, for VCs particularly, I would say try to develop your own thesis and develop a certain domain expertise in at least one or two or three areas. I think that will really help over the medium to long term, because once and then once you have a little bit of understanding about how certain sectors work, you'll be able to evaluate ideas better. I mean, I think over time, you can start by being sector agnostic, but over time, you really need to, develop certain insights into certain industries and sectors and spaces. And yeah, also be well aware of the risk profile. I mean, this is a risky business. There's no doubt about that. I think all VCs, they lose money or they make investments in failed startups more than in winners. I mean, this is true for most. So if you see the investment to exit ratio also, and the percentage of companies that VCs make money in versus the amounts that they write off, it's always very, very skewed. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I mean, try to develop relationships with your founders. I think one of the things that I always tell myself is, look, I mean, for me to make money as an investor, the company has to do well. And that's my primary objective, to ensure that the company does well. So because if the company does well, then everything else falls into place. The founder makes money, the investors make money, everybody else makes money. So always have the well-being of the company in your mind, as the most important thing, because if that is taken care of, then everybody else will make money and everything else will be taken care of. And yes, we've had instances where, we've developed relationships with founders, and, we've invested in their first outing and made money, and when they've exited us, sold their companies, so they've come back to us when they were planning their second venture, and we've invested in them, and that has done well. So yes, it can be a very rewarding journey if all goes well. And as you said, you can end up becoming friends for life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pradyumna.
It can also work the other way around at times. So you can end up becoming foes for life, and don't want to see each other again. So
That's true. And that sometimes happens irrespective of whether the investment has happened or not. But very true. Well said, Pradyumna. Sunil, over to you, and looking forward to hearing from you. And what word of advice would you have for the other folks in other VC firms,
You know, first, the VC career looks like a very lucrative career from outside. Let me, guys, tell you, this is one of the toughest career choices one makes. The first thing is that you're working with entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are the smartest soul on earth. They are the people who are trying to move mountains every day. And these are the people, if you're working with, you need to have a lot of empathy for them. This trait is not taught in colleges of empathy. You learn it over a period of time to respect what they are saying, how they are thinking, what they are about to do, not question them every now and then. Understand, and go back to them after doing a due research as to why they were saying so or they're doing so. That's part one, empathy. The second part is if you want to become a venture capitalist, there is one skill which is essential and the most essential. And most of you who have been startup founders or so will know the value of giving an exit to an investor. If you have learned the art, learning an art of investing is easy. It is taught in every business school. But to sell that business is not taught. If you are not capable of how to sell a business that you've invested in, guys, the value in this particular venture capital ecosystem will be negligible for you. Hence, prepare your mindset. Yes, I'm going to be investing in so and so company. I'm taking 10% equity in that stake. And how and when I'll be able to sell that business, that clarity has to be there. And that is where it counts as to the thing may be worth 100 rupees and you might be getting 80, 70, 60, or looking at the environment, whatever I'm getting, let's realize and go back home and be happy. So though that decision making capability is an important one. Last one. In a venture capital ecosystem, we make money as a rule in 18th year. So no VC makes money in 10 year, 12 year, 15 year. The cycle is 18 years. Only when the third fund starts giving exit, that's the time we are able to take back some money back home. There is a very beautiful report done by Bloom, Omega Files. If you look at Omega Files, Bloom, Karthik Reddy and Sanjay Nath started that in 2011. And last year's reports talked about that they as a founder have been able to take out some 3 crore rupees each as carry, only in the last year. That means after 14 years, which was just enough for their children to go to the college. So that is the life for VCs. There is no instant gratification. Only after you have given the money back to your investors, return to those investors, then some carry share will come to you. That carry share will have to be redeployed in the next fund if you want to be in that journey. The second fund carry also will have to be redeployed. So nothing will come back home. So be very, very clear as to why you want to be venture capitalists. There has to be a clear passion to make change in the economy for humanity. You cannot be here in this business for money.
Very true, Sunil. Couldn't agree. I can't thank the panelists enough, Sunil, Pradyumna, and Nitesh, for the awesome insights and shared as usual with a lot of candor and, of course, with all the acumen and with all the experience at your disposal. This interaction obviously gets recorded, goes live on YouTube. And while the concurrent users is a certain number, we have seen typically anywhere from 400 to 600 folks watching it here on Zoom, and another 500 to 700 watching it on YouTube. And I won't be surprised if a lot of people who are perhaps not on the bridge today are also going to have huge takeaways from this fantastic session. Before we move to the next part of questions, and we might just have time for a couple of them, I just want to make a hygiene announcement that the 4 founders who are presenting today need to be ready. My Faris, and this is the order of presentation: My Faris, followed by Caloritz, and then the King of Salads, and then of course the Experiment Labs. Before we sort of move to that part, any quick questions that we can cover? And I'm going to take the liberty of asking the questions that have already, that we're already seeing in the chat box. There's a question from Navneet who says, often many VCs in pre-seed and seed stage call themselves sector agnostic, and it's not easy to understand the fund thesis. What can founders do in such cases? Any of the panelists would like to take a jab at this question?
Just look at the pedigree of those founders, the partners at the VC firm. You will get to know what are the areas it'll be easy for them to understand and go for those. They may be sector agnostic as a thesis. Stage will definitely be defined. Geography will be defined. And in the sector agnostic, partner expertise will come in the most important aspect for them to be able to take faster decisions in your sector.
Fair enough. Anybody else who would like to take a jab at this question?
Yeah, so just carrying on from that thought, I mean, just look at the past investments, right? I mean, if you look at the investments or the, past and present portfolio of the fund or the founders and the partners, I'll give you a sense of the kind of areas they like to invest in. That's all.
Absolutely. Should I move to the next question, which is from Bharat Vishwanathan? Usually, a deep tech startup, in the AI or robotic space, takes time to show the revenue or customer commitment. What are the key insights investors would like to share or they look for in a deep tech startup at a pre-seed or a MVP level? Anything that any of the panelists would like to share?
Oh, sure. I've been a deep tech investor since 2014. Patience is one important element that we have learned. This is the clarity with which you can present your product roadmap is the most crucial aspect. So what is the customer asking for? What is the insight that you have from the customer or a market? And the product roadmap as to how it's going to be evolving. We know that it'll take time for the product to have product market fit to happen or a minimum viable product to happen. So until then, it is the clearer clarity of your product roadmap journey. You should be able to visualize how in every 18 weeks or every now and then when Sam Altman comes on the dais to speak and launch his product, how it's going to be impacting the prospects of your business, and you should be able to relate to that particular journey. So product roadmap is one aspect. Second, funds like us are now having life of 10 plus 1 plus 1, 12 years. So make sure that if you're a deep tech startup, there is at least 7 plus 1 plus 1 life available. J curve of growth is what you should be able to enable a fund like us to ride. In India, there is a new thesis that has come by. We don't want to sell a winner in our portfolio. Now we are able to launch continuation vehicles. We can be with you for much longer time period in case you're doing well. So let's say 7 years have gone by and we want to sell from our first fund. We will launch a continuation vehicle to keep holding onto a great asset that you've built and never sell it. So Sequoia now manages $20 billion of evergreen fund. So people in India also have now started graduating towards continuation vehicles. Become as good as you can so that we continue to hold you for much longer time and not have a shorter time period. Lastly, deep tech always has an IP, always has some core patents. Since you have a core patents, if we are not able to find a product market fit or put together a minimum viable product, we've been able to recover capital by just selling the IP and core tech. This is like investing in a land. That is what deep tech is. कि किसी भी हालत में पैसा डूबेगा नहीं because you are going to be selling the IP eventually to be able to monetize some part of it.
Absolutely. Anything from the other faculty member? Yes, please. Mitesh, over to you.
No, I think no better than Sunil Bhai to answer this. I think the way your nest is deep rooted in the deep tech ecosystem. I think what he says comes with loads of experience. Just to add to that, based on my experience is one for founders. In fact, the other way to think is that just because it is said that a deep tech will have a longer gestation period and all, do not take your eyes off monetization. Doesn't give you right to say that okay, I will only monetize or start earning revenue in year 3 or 4. Very important to be agile. Always look at I've one thing that I've seen in this space is that often great product guys come right as founders, right? But when it comes to the sales skill or monetization, That's where I think they lack, the business acumen or knowledge, or at least that approach to kind of, be friendly to market and crack deals. So monetization or your ability to understand monetization is equally important. Second, again, a myth that only for deep tech enterprises or enterprise size business is only outside India, or only US pays, or only, overseas countries pay. India is equally a robust market, right? And there are many such economies there. So stop relying, or stop at least thinking only in terms of selling outside India. There is a good amount of market, and there will be n number of examples of great deep tech entities, enterprises who have built business with India as their largest market.
Very true. Pradyumna, anything you want to add as the parting comment?
No, I would not, because we don't really particularly look at deep tech and don't claim to have any expertise in this space. So I will
Right.
pass this.
Fair enough. Once again, I think because we have run out of time, and I know there are so many questions coming in, and it's only because of the extremely awesome and insightful conversation we have had, and I don't think we could have asked for a better panel for this topic. Sincerely grateful to Pradyumna, to Mitesh, to Sunil for taking the time out from your busy schedules for this. But we are going to request you to hang on for another 30 minutes or so, as we request the founders to come and present. Each founder has 8 minutes. So Deepali from MyFurries is the first founder with the first founder presentation. Deepali, over to you. And I would love to talk about how MyFurries is planning to disrupt and create a completely different value proposition in the pet parent space. But I would hate to steal Deepali's thunder. Deepali, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sachin. I'll just be sharing my screen.
Sure.
Let me know if it's visible.
Sure. And as they famously say, your time starts now. We have 8 minutes for your presentation and 2 minutes for the faculty to share their thoughts. Over to you, Deepak.
Sure. Everyone can see my presentation?
Yes, please start.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sachin. So, hi, my name is Dipali, and I'm the co-founder of MyFurries.co, which is an animal health and wellness hub. So, at MyFurries, what we are trying to do is we are building a pet telemedicine platform in veterinary care, enabling pet parents to connect with veterinarians and digitally enabling veterinarians to give advice and get advice. Essentially, the idea is to build a efficient and effective healthcare solution in veterinary care, which is digital first. Now, as a pet parent and ardent animal lover for over 35 years, and being from the capital city, I encountered a lot of issues when it came to looking after my pets, be it, finding a specialist, alternatively, looking for some medicines, or, dialysis center, as simple as dialysis center for my, dogs. I was finding it very, very challenging. And hence, this idea of launching something came into my mind. So, in 2020, I launched MyFurries in 2020 to solve these problems. So I'll categorize these problems into two categories. One is essentially for animal or pet owners, and second for veterinarians. For veterinarians, access to veterinary care is limited, specifically in tier 2, tier 3 cities. Knowledge on how exactly to raise a healthy pet is not there, and specifically in rural, the cost of veterinary care is very, very high, and affordability is not there. And for veterinarians, there's no solution which is, really digital first. They can manage, maintain records, get in touch with other veterinarians in case they want some advice to, get advice and give advice. So, what we are trying to do here is that we said that, looking at these problems, we have enough, problems that we should be, solving to help the pet owner or the animal, at the end. So we built a solution which is, Ask a Vet service. That's our, primary service. I'll be talking about it, in next couple of slides. So just an overview of what we are talking about. We are talking about 46 million pets in the country as of now, and these are slated to go to about 65 million in next couple of years. And the livestock, which is as per government census, about 536 million today. And to look at, the number of vets we have is that we have only 83,000 vets in the country, and the Veterinary Council of India says that we at least minimum we require 150,000 vets in case we want to service the kind of number of animals we are looking at. So we built our solution, which is Ask a Vet service, which is a digital first online service where any animal owner or a pet owner can connect with a veterinarian online, ask and advise after giving all the details about their animals, connect with the veterinarians, and at least get the first connect to see if their pet can be treated online or if it is required to be taken offline. For veterinarians, to enable them to do this, we are building this veterinary telemedicine platform, which is a veterinary practice management software to enable the veterinarians to go online, and hence we'll be closing this loop. So our journey so far, since our launch, we have serviced over 80,000 pet parents and animal owners, which relates to approximately 100,000 consults. We've been able to build a network of over 4,000 veterinarians, and we have already started getting early revenues via consults, subscriptions, and pet wellness programs that we run for organizations. And all this we have been, been managed by our team, which has a combination of a domain expertise by Dr. Vinay Chavra, who is an alum of Lala Rajpat Rai University, Hisar, with over 30 years of experience, and he's a multi-species specialist. Me, I have over 25 years of experience. Last, I was with Naukri.com with an expertise in running and building businesses within the company. And our Chief Technology Officer, she is alma of Has Berkeley, RPI, New York, and she was with she was with Apple, before she joined full time to run this program. So all three of us to put together have been able to build this solution and bring it so far, and we want to take it forward to be able to service 1 million pet parents and animal owners in next couple of years. We've been also able to, rake in a lot of who's in the veterinary industry as our advisors. So I'm just naming 2-3 here who are on the screen. But having said that, we've got a good, mix of about 10 to 15 advisors who are the pioneers in the veterinary industry. So to have. To add to that, when we launched and as a validation and recognition of the idea we are doing, we got incubated in IVRI Veterinary Research Institute, which is a pioneer in veterinary sciences in the country. And we got incubated, and in fact, we got a grant also from them just to to help us take off our product to the next level. So a lot of our expertise and domain knowledge also comes from the institution to be able to help us take the product going forward. And in this short period of time, we have been also able to build a lot of collaborations with people in the industry, be it veterinarians or diagnostic companies, or similarly major giants like Mars Pet Care, who liked our product and they just wanted to sponsor our veterinarian community so that they can come online. Just to talk about the TAM for our product. So pet care market incidentally is huge. Having said that, I'm just talking here about
the last 1 minute left.
So I'm just talking about the telemedicine market in veterinary healthcare, which is slated to be about $1 billion in by 2030. And Asia Pac, and out of Asia Pac, India seems to be the largest growing market. And then from that, if I were to segment it further, canine segment and teleconsulting segment are going to be the largest segment there. So what we have been able to build so far, what from our clients and whatever feedback we've got from the market, we have been able to reduce the turnaround time for a vet consult from the time a pet parent or an animal owner takes their pets to a clinic and to get the consult or an advice. We've been able to reduce that by 80%, and the cost of of course a consult is reduced by about approximately 65%.
We'll have to wrap up now.
Yeah.
Dipali, if you just want to.
So just a second. So we get revenues from our Ask a Vet service, which is single consult and subscription packages, and also from a veterinary practice management software. That's how we are trying to monetize our product and services. Thank you so much. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Sure. Thanks so much, Deepali. And I'm going to request our esteemed panelists if they would have a word to share with Deepali.
Dipali, this is Sunil here. Just want to understand what are the customers currently paying you? Okay, for the consult, for the single consult, for the monthly packages or yearly packages. What is the exact takeoff and exact traction?
So exact traction. So our maximum revenue or transactions are happening through single consults right now. And we are trying to convert these single consults through subscriptions.
How much are they paying for a single consult?
Single consults is a penetration pricing, 149 rupees for a single consult.
149.
Yeah.
How do you think that price point would be scalable in a competitive world?
See, so this price point has been, kept in mind looking at is what actually is available in the market, and also what is the paying capacity of the kind of people we are looking to, address. So, 149 rupees is a very decent price. Everybody, it's a no-brainer. People are willing to come and pay us for that. But had it been, and in fact, we have tried these AB pilots where we tried to increase it to 249 on 300 rupees. The moment we increased it, our transaction dipped. So for us, the sweet spot is anywhere between 150 to 170 rupees. That's what we have figured out so far.
Yeah, you'll have to fund the cost of having veterinary service those clients for a longer period of time. So be prepared that you need to have decent funds to ensure quality of service is sustained for these 149 rupees paying customers.
I understood.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments for Deepali? If not, we can wrap Deepali's session. Deepali, thank you for the awesome presentation as always. And best wishes for your journey ahead as we invite the next startup, Calirex. So Calirex team, are you there?
Yeah. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Sachin. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Sure. So over to Calirex team as they are going to tell us how the law enforcement agencies and entities also need quality help. And again, my famous line about not wanting to steal the founder's thunder. Swastika, over to you.
Okay. I hope the screen's visible.
Yeah, we can see the screen. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Sachin, for the introduction. Hi, everybody. I'm Swastika, and I'm the founder of Calirex. At Calirex, we develop solutions to law enforcement. So, me and my co-founder, Sri Krishna, we are techies, so we love going to hackathons, building techs, and that is our background. And after one such hackathon at Rajasthan State Police, they called us back. They wanted a solution to have a background check on the migrants that were coming. Basically, what was happening was more than 50% of the crime in Jaipur was by these migrants. These migrants would come from other state or illegally from other countries, do a crime, go to a different state, start a new life. And since police did not have any background on them, it was hard for them to capture this crowd. And at the point, we built a simple solution, two apps, one for the police, one for the citizen. The citizen would add his property, add a tenant or worker working under him or living in his property, and the police would verify this, and the police had to actually go to the location and verify if the person was actually living there. This was the simple flow. And at this process, we realized that internally, police also did not have much access to software solutions for them to manage their crowd also. So we developed a end-to-end unified platform. Within 2 to 3 days, the entire department could get into our platform. Simply, they have to upload an Excel file of all the details of the officers, and we would optimize how the department is working. We would allot jurisdiction, and this helped them to improve their efficiency by 40%. And also one more point I want to highlight is more than 38% of crimes in India are committed by such migrant workers. And more than 50% of an officer's time is spent on paperwork. And through our apps and systems, they have reduced paperwork and they digitalized it. And coming to digitalization part, it's not that our country doesn't have any digitalization in this aspect, in this police department, but it was hard for the officers to use such systems because most of these apps were not co-developed with these department officials. And one data point I want to highlight is that one of our officers has completed more than 1,600 background verifications. So I think that is a very big milestone for our product. And we have also done R&D on CCTV as well, CCTV solutions as well. That is, the government has already invested a lot of money in the CCTV infrastructure, and we have developed algorithms that can be deployed via Wi-Fi to these systems and make them smarter. The gist of what our company is, it's not just this. What our idea for the future is build an algorithm that can flag if somebody has an suspicious past or event. How we are going to achieve this is, firstly, if your Aadhaar and phone number is connected connected, that gives you one level of support that somebody is living with a valid document. Secondly, we'll connect it to CCTNS data. CCTNS data is basically one of the biggest databases for crime, starting from the smallest of the smallest robbery to money laundering. So our idea is to build an algorithm that will ping if somebody is, living being part of any suspicious activities or so. And one more thing is that talking about our background as founders is we love tech, and our conversations are like, if there is a robbery robbery at a point A, and the guy is going to point B, we would track all the cameras between point A to point B, take the CCTV footage and analyze it. These are some of our conversations as founders, and this is what we are really passionate about. Coming to our statistics, in last 8 months, we have reached 50,000 plus users. We have assisted 50,000 plus users and conducted background verification. We have onboarded 1,800 plus police officers and trained 2,000 plus officers. One thing I want to tell about the police department is that most of the officers were not okay with adapting to tech, but since our tech was developed with these officers, it was easier for them to adapt. And one thing I also want to mention is that at one point they asked us to change the flow of the app, and within 16 hours of that change of flow, more than 289 background verifications were conducted. And one more thing I want to highlight is that there was a case in which somebody was out on parole and was leaving out of the timeline. So he was captured. And one more thing I also want to talk about is that there was an incident where an old couple was robbed by their maid, and her data was in our database, and we were able to track her down as well. And we are also looking to build, since we also have done R&D in the CCTV space, we are also looking to build a system similar to DigiYatra for government workspaces or sensitive areas. And it's not actually DigiYatra because we are just planning to make the existing CCTV smarter. So it is something I feel would be helpful to these officers, because these departments, because there's a lot of money that they have already put into installing these systems, and upgrading them by maybe buying new hardware wouldn't be very pocket friendly for them as a department. So this is what we are working on. Coming to our customers, we are primarily focusing on the law enforcement department and the smart city initiatives and all of that. Our competitors are gate management apps because they already have such background verification data of people living in a societies. But what they lack is our connect with the police department. Our revenue model, we are primarily focusing on law enforcement. They will have a one-time setup cost and yearly maintenance cost. We're also working on, understanding this data better. Maybe in an area there is a continuous crime pattern that's happening. We are planning to analyze such data
Mustika,
and
last 1 minute, please.
these insights to law enforcement agencies. We are also thinking on bringing premium subscriptions such as night patrolling and other services via our apps. So this is the team. The team consists of me and my co-founder Sri Krishna. We both have around 3 years of work experience at Oracle, and we have won 4 different government hackathons. Our team also consists of Rakesh Jajaria, who is a head constable at Jaipur Police. Yeah, this social impact is that previously there was a very big taboo to actually do background verification. They would have to go to the police office and do it. So we are building trust and transparency via our services, and we want to go beyond police department. Thank you.
Thanks, Swastika. I'm going to request the esteemed panelists if they have any thoughts or questions.
Yeah, if I can go first.
Sure, please go ahead, Pradum.
Just wanted to understand, you said you have helped reduce paperwork in the police department. So can you give an example of what exactly is the solution that you have deployed and how has that reduced paperwork?
Previously, somebody had to do a background verification is a mandatory process. And previously, somebody had to do such a process. They would have to go to the police department, do it via paper. There are online websites for it, but the police department was not doing it. It would be like, okay, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Our app was a simple app where a citizen could add a property, add a tenant, attach a tenant or servant to that property. Basically, it was a similar to KYC process where data is Aadhaar and phone number authenticated. So it is one level of assurance that his documents are valid documents, even though Aadhaar is not the prime documentation to recognize somebody as a valid citizen of this country. So, and once this data is uploaded through our app, the police officer goes to the location, tags the location. When I say tag, he takes the geolocation is taken up, the latitude, longitude details. He takes a photo of a verifier who verifies that this person is living here in my property. This is the workflow app. And we also have a web platform to do this entire setup. That is, if a department wants to get into our platform, they can just give us an Excel data of their department. He just has to upload the data and the entire setup would be done for that department without any hassle. And reporting will be generated through our web platform that, within last 7 days, if an officer has not verified somebody, there's a reporting that has been generated. And all such tasks to, we also have a feature where if a property is marked as vacant, if the landlord is not in the property, he can mark it vacant, and a patrolling route would be assigned to an officer at the very lowest level so that he can take that patrolling route at night and cover those areas. This is primarily our product.
Okay. I'm still trying to understand the exact use case, but because you mentioned several aspects. But okay, in the interest of time, we can reconnect later on if required. See, in the CCTV space, there are already a lot of players that are operating, that are providing surveillance and helping various government agencies with surveillance, etc. So I would, urge you to look at that space and see who the existing players are and how your solution is going to be different to the ones that are already out there.
Our solution, what differentiates our solution is that we make the existing CCTV smarter. So that's our differentiator in that space.
No, that's what I'm saying. There are already players out there who are doing this,
Okay.
and helping various government agencies. I mean, Videonetics is a company that is doing this very well at scale. There's another company, Camcom, which is in our portfolio, which is also getting into this space, tying up with police and state governments, etc. So just expand your research a little bit and see how you can differentiate yourself better. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Pradyumna. Thanks, Swastika. Any other panelists who would like to quickly
Just
share?
will compliment. This is a great initiative that you're doing. Co-creating with the police department itself is a very, very difficult task. If you're able to co-create it well, there will be a value. It'll take a little longer time for you to be able to get revenues coming in. However, the intent and the cause is very, 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 very heart-touching.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sunil. Thanks, Swastika. And once again, best wishes, Swastika, for the journey ahead. As we come to the third startup of the day, King of Salads. Yatin, are you there? Swastika, can you stop sharing the screen? Yatin, are you there? Looks like Yatin has just dropped off. He was here for quite some time. We'll see if the fourth founder is ready. Naman, are you there by any chance? Experiment Labs?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we might have to just shuffle the sequence. Thanks for stepping in. So, Naman, over to you.
Okay, awesome. Am I audible? Is the audio clear?
Yes, you are.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Sachin, for the invite. Let me share my screen and yeah, just give me a second. Okay, awesome. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is. Please go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning in. At Experiment Labs, we are building infrastructure, orchestrated infrastructure for AI native applied learning. Now, too many fancy words. What does it mean, right? Today, if you look at education as a whole construct, right, what we've been able to solve is essentially content, standardized tests, theoretical learning. But when it comes to applied learning, practical learning, the entire system fails, right? Because assessment and content is solved, but there is no way to measure readiness for real work. How applied opportunities are either privilege dependent, or even if you get access to it based on your real skill and talent, the path to that is difficult, and essentially proving outcomes is purely not tested before you get access to that opportunity, right? And there is no systematic validation of applied competency, right? And this problem impacts 620 million people across the world in three different categories, right? Whether you're entering into top global colleges, let's say an MIT, Harvard, Stanford, are looking at your profile and what have you done in real life, whether you're entering from college to workforce, or whether you're entering leadership, right? Now, while these are the three buckets, we've decided to start and solve with the college admissions bucket because this is the biggest white space, and with the product that we've built, this is where we found the perfect fit, right? Today, people spend close to $20 billion on getting the profiles made with consultants across the board. They spend on SAT, GRE, GMAT across the board, but they are qualifiers. What makes it through is what have they done in their profile, right? And that question is very, very subjective, very, very opaque. Families are spending a lot of money. The ROI visibility is missing. The applied learning infrastructure is missing, and 220 million students who actually enter global college admissions every year are impacted by this. If we only look at the top 150 universities, that is close to about 15 million students entering top global universities, right? Today, test scores are losing their weightage day in and day out. There is a global shift towards holistic admissions. Cross-border mobility is surging, And colleges are definitely seeking authentic differentiators. And that is exactly why we decided to enter this space of the entire problem, right? And Gen AI and AI today makes it solvable. Now, how do we solve this problem? We built an orchestrated engine with AI and actual delivery stack in our process, where there are consumer facing portals, but there are domain specific agents, applied learning agents, tangible outcome measurement agents, and orchestration agents that curate that journey for the learner while pulling in the right content, right tools, right mentors, everything across the board, right? And then they deliver to a particular tangible outcome. In this case, college admissions. Let's quickly look at the product overview first. Is the audio coming in from the video, Sachin? If you could confirm.
Not yet.
Counseling is
Yeah, now it is starting. Please go ahead.
Great counseling is strategy plus execution. Experiment Labs is the orchestrated execution to build stellar profiles. Your profile building co-pilot is here. We are the infrastructure behind your counseling, delivering strategic profiling through Elevio, bottom-up execution with Elevate, and continuous validation via Edify. Elevio works alongside you, analyzing each student against target schools, identifying gaps, and generating hyper-personalized projects at the intersection of their unique interests. Your strategic vision, our execution infrastructure. Elevate becomes each student's co-pilot, opening the right industry doors and hand-holding them through structured projects with one-on-one delivery. We handle daily execution while you focus on higher-level guidance. Edify helps students learn and build skills to apply with the right industry mentors and experts, validating every step, tracking development, and transforming completed work into portfolio-ready evidence. Your students don't just have activities, they have quantified executed proof. Start building stellar profiles evidence with infrastructure behind you.
Right? So, from identifying and personalizing the activities that a learner should do to transition, to actually breaking it down into curated paths, to curating a journey and handholding them, and then pulling in the right content, mentor tools, access, whatever is needed to help them build tangible outcomes. Now, whether this is across by doing research, by doing internships, by doing their own projects, whether it's applying to global competitions, there are 7-8 levers in the profile, and we help across all those levers across the board with the help of this engine, right? As we said, the overall market is close to about $85 billion. College transitions in itself is $15 billion of market, probably the smallest of the lot, but the biggest white space that is out there, right? Today, we've already done close to about $150,000 or 1.25 crore in bank revenue. Our GTM is simple. We power education consultants like from Leverage EDU to Rocket. I'm sure you've heard of some of these names, to essentially personalize what the activities to student should do, and that is the SaaS play for the consultant. On top of that, every lever or activity that the student does to move their profile is anywhere between $400 to $500 per activity. Student ends up taking 3 to 5 activities depending on how early are they coming before their wanted tangible transition that they need, right? We already have about $750 revenue per student as an average. Through these counselors, we are serving learners in 8 different geographies. We have 40 plus consultants. There are other future expansion levers as well, which we can get to sort of as we discuss. If we look at parallels, right? Gloat is someone who's already done and solved this in the leadership transition space. From a product perspective, their proposition is different, but from a product perspective, Gloat has solved it. Handshake again has solved it globally in terms of workforce transitions and enabling that from college to workforce. The college entry entire market is broken. There are enough players solving individual levers, but today with AI being where it is, this orchestration, personalization, delivery engine is massively missing with multiple gaps in the journey, and that is what we're here to solve. If we talk about the team, This is my second venture. Previously, I started a company called Binge Digital. We were building QR code menus, which got acquired by Dineout. My co-founder, then I headed B2B strategy within Dineout, headed Southeast Asia markets at Plus Plus. My co-founder, Alok, comes from Delhi College of Engineering, about a decade worth of experience building products, was at the early team at MobiKwik, then Airtel Payments Bank, and Airbase. And we have
Naman,
Shweta,
last 1 minute.
yeah, we have Shweta, who heads operations, also has worked at Upgrad, has about 20 years of experience in media, content, education across the board. And we have Raghav, who's now the head of education at OpenAI as an advisor, and Pulkit, who is the CEO for shopping vertical at District Plus Zomato as an advisor on board. As I said, close to about now, last 2 months has reached up to 1.37, but 1.25 crores, now 1.37 is where we are at in terms of our banked revenue, including SaaS plus transactions. About 85% money comes from transactions, about 15% comes from SaaS. We and Again, the margins are great. It's a 70% CM1 business here, 40% CM2 business right now, and these can even go to 80 and 50% based on more tech that we build, right? We have successful student admits that have happened. Students have gotten to Princeton, Berkeley. This student particularly got 40,000, finally took an admit at University of Connecticut with a $40,000 worth of scholarship. And there are other students who have seen amazing results, close to about 500 odd students that have completed 2 or more buckets on the platform. We have good testimonials from our counselors as well. Happy to answer questions that might be there.
Thanks, Naman. Over to the panelists if they had any thoughts or observation.
Naman, one quick clarification.
Yeah.
How do you motivate, incentivize the counselors to be associated with you? 40 plus counselors working with you. What is their motivation?
So this is like a doctor pharma model. They don't. So there are two questions, right? Two parts to this answer. One, the intrinsic motivation is that we are the backend infrastructure for them, to get industry partners, mentors, curate all of this. They'll have to put in a large team, which is again cost intensive to them. We take that effort away from it and we put intelligence to it. And then, of course, every transaction made, they get a 20% incentive of every transaction that the student does, right? So that's a monetary incentivization that happens. So it's like a doctor pharma model in that sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you just go back to your revenue slide and just explain once more the breakup of it?
Sure. Give me a second. This one? Or the month on month?
Month on month.
Yeah. Sure. Right. So essentially, we started as a service play earlier, just servicing these transactions. And then as we grew, we started building our product layers, right? By Q4 23, by end of Q4 23, we had that SaaS. If you look at all the transactions across the month, roughly 15% is SaaS. Some months it's 20, some months it's 15. Also, there would be spikes in that SaaS revenue because for the first 5 consultants, we pitched them on a deck, asked them to co-curate with them, took development money from them itself, and then developed it with them. So that's why, let's say a SaaS is $600 annually, but they would have paid close to 2 lakh, 2.5 lakhs for co-creating with them, right? So that's how we built as a one-time development fee. So the spikes might be higher in some of these months because we were co-curating with them, and then on it's SaaS plus transactions, right? So that's how it is split. Now, rough split is 15 to 85% of SaaS to levers, but some months it could be 20 to 25% as well, where we've taken money to develop features or the entire product and understand from our customers.
Okay, great. Any other observations, thoughts? Otherwise, we can wrap this session. Naman, thank you so much for an awesome presentation. As always, you can stop sharing the screen now. And we'll just see if Yatin has been able to join. He did mention he had some issue at his end. But Yatin, have you been able to join? looks like Yatin has not been able to join. So we may have to perhaps including him in the next session.
Sachin, so good for thanking so for having us over interact with these startup founders. Good, I have left my email ID and my investment team's email ID onto the chat box, and I must convey thanks to IDFC Bank Chaitanya for this great initiative, and you are living the vision that your CEO, managing director, has been conveying all through. You're truly living that vision. And startup founders, one piece of advice: don't go to the neighborhood bank for your banking facilities. Only and only go to a startup specialist branch whenever you need to start a banking relationship. Only they will be able to understand you better, not the normal next door branch. So that's the one input that I like to give you.
I really thanks, Sachin, Sunil, Pradyumna, and Mitesh, and all the startup founders who are there on the call. And I can't agree more with this advice, Sunil. They need to choose a bank that understands startup, journey and what it takes to build a startup quite well. Thanks for that advice.
Thanks so much, Chaitanya, and Sunil and Pradyumna and Mitesh. Thank you for making this edition of the third edition of the First Wings Connect program Fireside Chat so memorable. It has been an awesome session, and can't thank you enough. And needless to say, you are going to see a reciprocation of the awesome suggestions and insights that you have shared in a visible or an invisible change in the ecosystem, because each of these sort of sparks help create a new chain of thoughts, a new set of actions, and one can't thank you enough. On this note, I would also like to take the opportunity on behalf of the Great Unicorn Hunt as the program partners for the First Wings Connect program to all the participants who logged in today and those who are watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for your session. We can wrap this session now. A big thank you to the esteemed panelists, Sunil, Pradyumna, and Mitesh. Thank you to the First Wings Connect team at IDFC First Bank. And thanks to all the participants on the bridge today. Best of luck, best wishes. The next session is on 7th November at 4 p.m. Thank you. Good day.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.